Okay, remember that rich people are ordering people to change the sound of my voice because it's obvious that I'm superior to everyone else. Righteousness is greater than wealth. And even if we were looking at things in terms of a cartoon in a secular sense, the idea that the Black Panther is superimposed on is greater than the idea that Fred is superimposed on. And little kids should be able to tell you that. It is that obvious. So this video is about why females are not valued on the earth. And first and foremost, it is the fault of males, right? Organized males, why that is. Especially LGBT ones, especially conservatives, especially feminist-friendly ones. You know, people who put out philosophies out there to control females, and they give them a false sense of confidence in their philosophies and their lifestyles. They get all dressed up and drive fancy vehicles and stuff like this, and they lose their fucking minds. And every culture is wrong. The cheerleaders, the goths, the jocks, the emos, the rockers, K-pop, every culture you can think of, they're all wrong, except for mine. Because my culture is universal, pinpoint, and moral precision. And not being some kind of groupie type of person. So point number one. The people that are the most likely to kill females on a planet where around 1 million females are killed every year, flat out killed, murdered, are their families and their partners. It doesn't take a genius to see that this is a matter of judgment. Why aren't they using good judgment? They're dating the type of people that change my voice and my speech patterns because they don't have the heart to love a true man, and I'm the last man standing. My father's blameless. There's something to be said about my brothers, but I'm really the only true courageous man doing the right thing, the last one ever possible. On this trajectory at least, and certainly no matter what happens, after my flesh dies, there won't be a man born into this world for sure. Everyone's supposed to rally and obey God through me. If they don't, they're not manning up, they're not a man. Pretty straightforward. So it's their bad judgment, right? Proverbs 13:15. Good judgment wins favor, but the way of the unfaithful leads to destruction. They're not faithful to God. So their bad judgment caused them to date some guy who beats them up or who conforms or who murders them. And their bad judgment led to complicity with the racist white Jew and LGBT corporate agenda around the world, which has pissed off a lot of religious fundamentalists and people in general from other cultures who do not want their daughters to be turned out by crazed Westerners with their sex cults, with their porn stars, with their scantily clad, sexually provocative females who dress in a way that's sexually provocative and sexually suggestive, with their corny and shallow cultures. Keep in mind, everyone else is lying about God in one way or another by their actions. So the religious people, the traditionalists, they're also wrong. They're wrong to do things the way that they're doing. But they're right to utterly despise anybody who would promote an immoral culture. And we have to consider who would by their deeds. And I'll put in the description in the comments what groups are the main ones doing it to not break the rules on YouTube. It should be very obvious to you who has more money than power and influence in the world than other people do. And it's very clear that they're the main ones whose cultures are the worst. They are the worst. They have the worst cultures, is what I'm trying to say. And these are the people who got together with a bunch of crazed geek scientists to hack my brain and to make it harder for me to speak. Why they hire a bunch of sarcastic worms who are like the fraternity children of Freemasons and corporate people, you know, college frat types who say sarcastic, immature things because they chose to be a frat person instead of a real man. Instead of having the heart of a man, they have the absence of a heart. And that comes from being in a frat and things like that. See, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So why did the females date an immoral beta psycho? Why did they date a social norm fanatic? Because they're often like the people in their families and the people that they date who killed them. When they're one of those 1 million or so females who are murdered every year on this planet. To cover this up is disgraceful. People putting quote unquote respect for people who cheat God's son above trying to show them the right way and protect them, that's despicable. That is despicable. The people who do that are just monsters. So imagine the types of worm who would say, hey, your video is disrespectful. You being complicit with all these horrible crimes against humanity is far more disrespectful than anything I could fucking say. Can you imagine them not understanding that? Point number 2. If you didn't know why women don't get respect, now you do. Gold diggers are scum that aren't valued. There's too many gold diggers who are females, and it rubs off on the rest of the females. They're guilty by association. Because of gold diggers, females as a whole are not valued, and there's a spectrum of gold diggers. Right now there's some chick with some fancy car and a fancy corporate job talking about, hey, she just wants a guy who isn't broke or something. That she's not a gold digger, that she has money. Just because you have money, because you're a groupie who does what, monsters say, doesn't mean you're not a gold digger. Why are you chasing money instead of virtue in the first place? Point number 3, groupies aren't valued for a reason. Point number 4, evil bitches in general, other than gold diggers and groupies, mind you, aren't valued for a reason. Point number 5, the evil bitches who are sluts aren't valued for a reason. They degrade themselves. That's why it's called degrading themselves. If you degrade yourself and a guy's like horny and can't get laid, and he's like, hey, what do I do now? Okay. And then you would reject him on top of that, it makes him hate you more. 1, he hates society for being made in a way that didn't make him a man. 2, he hates that he's being shunned by these whores who choose scoundrels who are worse than he is. And 3, they degrade themselves on top of everything else. It's hard to find a chick who's attractive, who's not utterly degrading herself at every turn. The word slut is a play on words for lust. It's the word lust scrambled. And Eros is a lowly Greco-Roman slut fucking bitch's fucking deity. Point number 6. Playing stupid about kill rates and playing stupid about the things that matter most makes people not value women. So there's 2 main things I want you to take away from this first part, because there's wind and it's going to cause some kind of noise in the background. But I want you to understand that the failures of other males have made it so females don't value women. Males are far more insightful as a group than females are. Okay, males exert far more dominance on this planet than females do. And other males went out like sniveling, apron-wearing corporate worms. They went out like fucking punks. They went out like frat boys, acting like a bitch instead of being a man. They went out like fucking pussies, folks. They went out like bitches. They went out like churches, mosques, and synagogues that refuse to have their members obey God through me. They went out like clowns with false pride. They went out with the 7 deadly sins kicking their ass one way or another. Their complicity utterly trampling them and their offspring. They went out like fucking bitches, and it's painful to see. And that's key in why women aren't valued. Feminism is key in why women aren't valued. Conservatism, the Democratic Party, the libertarians, every other culture, because they're not making people men who put their foot down as the head of their household and raise a woman properly. So females are not raised properly because men are not they're so-called men, they're not manning up. They're acting like bitches. Being a white supremacist who can lift a lot of weights and shoot a gun is not being a man. Vir and virtue means man. Not being another groupie with muscles in a pickup truck. Grow the fuck up. Like, I gotta explain this. I literally understood these things as a little kid. How come you people don't?